Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Card Talk, a podcast where we spend just a little bit of time talking about the best events in the game. I'm your host, Dave Walsh.
I'm Ted Bannock, and I love talking about the best fives of things.
I'm Micah Quantz, and I'm here for the hot takes.
And I'm Matt Kell, blogmaster of CardTalk2018.com.
Yo, we got a hefty crew here today because we need help with. It's a big lift.
It's a big lift.
Doing the extravaganza things.
I know. It's been a good month. We're just wrapping up the month here. We're just trying to get the last little bit of player cards. I'm sure there's a million other categories we could talk about.
For sure.
But we'll save some of those categories in.
There's just too much cardboard and not enough time on this earth.
That's right. That's how it works. So to let everybody out there know what we did, we polled the Card Talk crew. There's 5 of us, 4 of which are here tonight. Grant somewhere along for the ride, in the background, doing the thing over in England, doing his thing,
doing the English thing.
But the 4 of us are here to kind of defend our picks,
and we're wondering why we left the sweet embrace of Mother England. We're jealous of Grant.
And we didn't get any input from anybody outside the 5 of us. So this is truly our top 5. So we're celebrating our 8-year anniversary by talking about the top 5s in the game. And Ted, I'm going to take this time to remind you that at one point you did make a deck for our 5th anniversary.
I did. I still have them.
Yeah, that I am going to have you post or send to me so I can post as a fun, a fun deck for people to have fun with, for our fun time with our fun extravaganza funness. Okay?
That's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, Micah. Thank you. See what kind of hot takes you can come up with. Okay, that said, let's talk about events, okay? What's the number one event, would you think, Matt Kell?
A Test of Will.
Test of Will, right? I mean,
without question or hesitation.
Right, but only 3 of us put Test of Will on the list.
What the hell's wrong? Who didn't?
Well, I have it on my list. I do have it on my list.
I know I didn't put it on my list.
Yes, go ahead, Matt.
Not that interesting, right?
It's not
it
that
just cancels things.
Of course, it's not interesting. It's too good. Good cards are oftentimes not interesting.
Yeah.
And they were oftentimes developed in the core set, so like, there's not a lot of like zhuzh with them, Like, go ahead, Matt. In one of your reviews, please spell the word zhuzh. Very often, when I press Caleb for one of the toughest cards in the game to design around, he says Test of Will, because you can just cancel the whole encounter deck for 1 spirit resource, right? Like, that's a lot. He said in the modern card pool, that would probably cost at least 2, probably 3 to do something like that. And so, so you can't really argue any of that. It's not interesting, but it's good.
Yeah, it's too good. It's the single best event in the entire game.
And yes,
in terms of just raw power.
Yep. It solves so many problems. And for any new players out there, just know it cancels the when revealed on an encounter card. It doesn't cancel treacheries. It cancels the when revealed. So even if you have an enemy, I'm looking at you, stupid. What's the ghost from the Angmar Awakens cycle? that spirit.
Cursed Dead.
Oh, Kurt's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, the Cursed Dead that can chain and give you 5 Cursed Dead. That's a when revealed on an enemy that sometimes you just want to cancel. That said, I think that's a shoe-in. Enough discussion, done. Okay, what about the only other event that 3 people said was hands upon the bow, which I'm surprised.
It is a surprise pull. Was it on my own list?
I don't think I've ever played Hands Upon the Bow.
So it's on my list, Grant's list, and Matt's list, but not Micah and Ted's list.
Yeah.
So,
it's a good card.
it is a good card. That's why it made my list. I mean, it gives you
Yeah.
Well, it's the whole pseudo questing thing, right? Because you get to attack the staging area, and you could do it as an action, so you can wait till after staging and be like, "Yeah, that 4-threat enemy, goodbye."
Yeah, I mean, it mitigates threat and an attack,
right
for one resource. Which
resource.
also then every time you mitigate an attack, you mitigate a shadow card,
provided that you can kill the enemy, right? Which is why you would be playing Hands Upon the Bow. Anyways, right?
It's also got awesome art.
Oh, phenomenal art. I may even have. Isn't that on a playmat too?
It's on one of the early Fellowship Kit playmats. I think it's one of the most.
I have to look at.
after.
I have to see if I can.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look at my official content. Keep talking about.
I rarely lean into the ranged keyword. I feel like when I'm building decks, I don't think I very, very rarely will actually even think about ranged.
In the same boat as a solo player, but when you're starting to be like, I need to take care of enemies before they come down, you start looking at that staging area attack stuff, and it's like, what can work here?
Yeah. If it's enough to kill the enemy, it's better than a feint.
Yeah, it's the same reason that Quick Strike gets a lot of love too, right? Because you just take it out before it has a chance to attack.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and I think it came out pretty early too. It came out, I think, in the second cycle, so it's not in the revised card pool, which is a shame. But it's pretty strong. It does a lot for how cheap it is.
Is it?
So,
does it belong on the list, Micah?
Yeah,
and Ted.
How
about I put it off to the side because we still have a lot to discussion. Right?
I personally wouldn't say so, but I've never used it, so I don't really know.
I just think it's really good. Okay, a couple other cards that should
got
be
multiple
in
votes?
that got multiple votes that should obviously be in the discussion. Sneak Attack. I feel like only 2 of us said Sneak Attack, but aren't you playing didn't Sneak Attack get you through so much of the game in the first it did so much heavy lifting, Sneak Attack Gandalf, right? And then you realize all of a sudden, oh, I don't have to just Sneak Attack Gandalf. I can Sneak Attack other things.
There's other good targets for it.
Oh,
but,
yes, 100%.
We've talked about that. There's Leadership Faramir and a bunch of other allies that have play effects when they come into play, but I don't know if it's that strong.
What? Who's the other person that put this Sneak Attack on their list?
I did.
Okay.
Help
me out, Matt.
I feel like it's one of the more interesting events because you can combine it with the interplay or leave play effects, right? Or people have their own abilities that you just want to use for a turn, Bayorn. That's
right.
Because of Sneak Attack, you can return them to your hand instead of shuffling them into your deck.
That's right. You keep talking. You go, boy. Micah,
You can get shenanigans with it if you do a lot of the recursion stuff, like Tome of Atanatar, to just keep putting it back into your deck, playing it over and over again.
Yeah, it's for sure. I mean, it's great. What else we got?
no,
Yeah.
I want to. What else we got is Micah. I want to know why he's wrong.
Well, I don't know. I like sneak attack. I find it often just sits in my hand. Like when I draw it.
Well, then you're playing wrong.
By drawing cards in your deck, you're playing wrong.
He's just like, it just sits in my hand. Well,
It's
well,
good.
you're-
It's good. I mean, and
it's
when
not
you
going on the
can-
list, is what you're saying. You and
Well, I don't know.
okay, I'm gonna move along because you guys are just ticking me off now. Okay, the next one on the list is Elrond's Council. Two of us said Elrond's Council, which Ted, maybe
Yo.
you like Elrond's Council.
Elrond's Council is super good. That's why.
I know what Elrond's council is.
Oh yeah,
Such a good card.
that's good. You know, I'm gonna take that cut and I'm gonna put it after the credits on this episode, just so you know.
Fantastic.
Yeah, just what's Elrond's Council? And so Matt, you didn't put it on your list.
Yeah, as we've discussed before, my list aimed towards more interesting cards than just good. So, yeah, I mean, Elrod's Council I tend to not play with most of the time because you are restricted to having a unique Noldor character. So unless I'm playing Arwen Ally, I usually don't have one to actually activate it.
Right. But Ted?
It cost 0. There's no like
One could argue that it costs needing a unique Noldor character.
Right. The
yes,
cost
there's a
is-
prerequisite to it, but it's insane. It's just a crazy amount of reduction.
But the
And that-
amount
that-
of times I don't have a Noldor character on the board is
Right.
minimal.
I keep drawing this in my Hobbit deck, and I have no idea how I'm going to play it.
But it
You're
is
not
a
amused
really
by
good.
my humor, Ted. You're not amused. Ted's just like, this card is fragging sweet.
It's because it's really good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put Elrond's Council on kind of the bottom of the list because
On the
I think we have to go
top of the list.
Yeah. Test of
Good play.
Will. Test of Will is on there. A couple other ones I'll put with hands upon the bow here. What about Foehammer?
Foehammer also super good.
Yeah.
Has great artwork too. But yeah,
It
drawing
does have
3
a lot
cards
of
and tactics, amazing.
Yeah. For 0, yes,
Yeah.
it's got the prerequisit.
Who
But
said
if it
Foehammer?
costs 0 and gives you 3 of a thing, it's super good.
Yeah.
There's no
Ted, you and Grant agreed on Foehammer, but Micah, Matt, and I did not. I would have put Foehammer. It would have been number 6 on my list if I had the chance. But so Matt, it's not interesting.
Yeah. I mean, at least has an industry prerequisite, but yeah, I mean, if we were going pure power, I'm not sure if it would made my list or not. Would be in the running for like number 5.
Okay.
I feel like it would be in my top 10, probably. Just didn't
Yeah,
quite
it's
make
very
top
good. That's
5.
the problem with the top 5 list, right? Is that
Mhm.
you can only
Yeah.
you can only have so many cards. Well, 5 cards there. You can't have 10, right? Okay, so Foehammer, not convinced. The only other card that more than one person said was Faint. Two people said Faint. Me, because it's just universally good. I know, Matt, it's not interesting. It just cancels an attack. And later on in the card game, I do know that they did a lot of like workarounds with, not being able to, immune to player card effects, or having attacks outside the combat phase, because it's a combat action. Nonetheless, you always love a feint when it is played. There's nobody in the game that's going to be like, oh, that was just okay when a feint gets played. Like, it's just not a thing. So, Ted, what's your feelings on feint?
It's super good. It goes in every tactics deck.
So Ted and I agree on feint. Okay. So let's talk a little bit of the one-ofs, just mention them, and then we'll see what we have to say. A very good tale, Host of the Galathrum, kind of the same but different sort of thing, right? Very good tale. Good.
Strong, for sure.
I don't think it goes top 5, though.
Yeah, top 5, but I get why it's on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's, right? Host of the Galathrum. I love Host of the Galathrum, but again, I don't think it's top 5. I don't know who said Host of the Galathrum. Probably. Oh, look at that.
I did.
Matt, because it's interesting, right?
It's interesting, and when you build for it, like the amount of effects you can get on it, it's one of the few high cost events that I feel like is actually worth the cost.
Yeah, I remember Caleb again came on the show and was like, the Sylvans needed the one like power card, and that was the one that could really change the game state around if you're doing it. But I still don't think, even though it's number 1 on your list, I still don't think like that card. I don't know. It's very awesome, but I don't think it's top 5 event in the game. I just don't. I don't know. Good talk, guys. Good talk.
I feel like that the fact that it's a planning action almost nerfs it too much for me. Like,
why?
Because you can only play it in the planning phase, and it's like and a lot of your effects on the Sylvans don't really make a difference during the planning phase.
A lot of them still work just fine because, like,
a lot of them do.
Handmaiden lowers your threat. Galadriel will let them all quest without exhausting because they all just came into play from the host replaying them. Orphan will still return a Sylvan to your hand. Even that one like 0 cost Sylvan ally will get his willpower boost.
Galleon.
It still works out just great.
Yeah,
like,
and Celeborn's bonuses for the whole round, not just for the thing.
It can kind of turn the game around.
It definitely can.
And it can recycle itself because if you have 2 or 3 Weavers in play, you just shuffle whatever ones in the top of your discard pile back in and draw it again the next turn.
Right. Draw it again the next turn, as if it were that easy. Okay.
It's doable for sure. I've played that deck. It's a lot of fun. Just play it over and over again.
Okay, what about Out of the Wild? I'm more and more liking Out of the Wild, right? Pick 5 cards, take one that has no victory points, and put it in the victory display. I didn't put Out of the Wild on my list, but I could see Out of the Wild being on our list if somebody made a strong argument for it.
I mean, removing cards from the game is, the ultimate removal, right? And you can do it as an action before it's even revealed, so you can just never see it. Like, and in certain scenarios, you can bypass things because you just add them to the victory display.
Here you are back on your Ghost of Framsburg thing.
Yep, put Framshade in the victory display before it even comes out, and there you go. You can skip a whole stage.
Yeah. Okay. Stand and Fight. It's good.
It's a really good tech
great.
card.
Yeah, it is, but it's not. I don't ever put Stand and Fight in it. Like that. Let's see. Ted would say you're playing to lose if you're playing stand and fight, right?
It's no, it's got its place. There's lots of allies that's worth recursion, and on top of that, you can
You don't have to
do
wait
some
for the ally to be
neat tricks with it.
Yeah, you don't have to wait the ally to be destroyed. Play something like Noldor or Dwarves and just fill your discard with the allies you want to bring back with stand and fight, or play off sphere allies with it. So it's kind of a tricksy card.
Mm-hmm. It can be tricky, but I don't know. Okay, I'm still not convinced that everybody's convinced. The Free Peoples. I don't know how this got onto the list, but I do not love the... Oh, Micah. Go ahead, Micah.
I love the Free People. I think it's one of I think it's one of the strongest effects when it hits the board.
Yeah, but it's such a niche-y build.
Kind of, well, it can be, but 9 traits is not that difficult. Usually you have 4 or 5 on your starting heroes.
Yeah, and then you just have to not build
And then,
into those starting heroes and build a deck that
yeah.
is right. Start with a Noldor deck and not build it. That's perfect. Ted, this is like Justin. Remember your buddy Justin came on and talked about the Free Peoples?
Yep.
I don't know. I find it's quite often that I'll get 9 traits on the board, and then to give everybody +1 willpower and ready everybody in a round. You just commit everybody to the quest, everybody gets an extra willpower, and everybody readies.
Yet you didn't think the host of the Glathrum was very good.
No,
is what it does.
is, but no, because you can't play that after you've gone questing.
But you don't need to play it after you've gone questing.
Right, because Galadriel
is quest without exhausting.
Right, it's questing without exhausting.
Oh, I get. Yeah, yes, that's true. If you're playing Galadriel, yes.
Right. Trust me, Galadriel's the best Sylvan hero in the game. Okay, I don't see anybody. Elven Light. Here's what I'll do. Okay, there's some card draw. Elven Light, Daron's Runes, Deep Knowledge.
Daron's Runes and Deep Knowledge would be like my 2 and 3, because they go in every deck I have with lore pretty much, unless I'm really concerned about threat.
Yeah, I mean, I would play Daron's Runes and Deep Knowledge more generally before I play Elven Light. I mean, I get Elven Light, I like Elven Light, but I would put those two above Elven Light. And Daron's Runes is probably...
It's just like, it's just universely good. Like, just like go through your deck. It, just to get to the cards you need faster.
Right.
I play them more than Elven Light, but I like Elven Light more.
Because you actually have to do something for it.
You're only playing Elven Light most of the time with Arwen, so it's a lot narrower.
You could play with some others. I've done it with like Eowyn or Spirit Legolas, but you could probably even do it like a Dwarven mining deck, but it gets more complicated. You don't have an easier way that once it's in your hand, how to put it back in the deck or something like that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could play it in a Dwarven mining deck with Gandalf if you needed to, but yeah, I prefer, like, of those 3 cards, which one's Daron's Runes?
Yeah, I think it needs to make the list.
Okay, so here's
even
what
though
I'm
it's
gonna
not do. It's not some crazy powerful like bomb card, but it's like consistently good.
Yeah,
and I think that's what makes cards good, is their consistency.
Right. Well, that's what makes deep knowledge really good. Like you can recur deep knowledge a whole bunch of times, and like just draw two cards, two cards, two cards, two cards, two cards all the time.
Yeah.
Like
I usually prefer deep knowledge to Daeron's runes just because I don't have to discard a card.
Yeah.
So
Just
I have
play
that
both.
problem.
Play both.
yeah.
I often do, but that's always my problem with Daeron's runes is like, now which card do I discard?
Right. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Zwern, another designer of the game, I'm name dropping here, said that deep knowledge is one of his favorite cards in the game. Card draw, like all the things you need. Okay. What about threat reduction? So we had Elrond's Council, which, Ted, you like. What about Galathrim's Greeting?
It's still universally good, but
I think it's
like
good, not great. I don't think
it's
it
great
belongs
because
on the list.
you can target a player or target the table, which is really helpful to be able to
Mhm.
target, 6 on a person who like needs it. But it's just
Not as good as Elrond's Council.
Elrond's Council is just 3 for nothing on yourself. And sometimes decks get both, right? So that way you have options for yourself and you have options for other players. But 3 resources is a lot.
Yeah, if you can get by without threat reduction, usually it's like, yep, buy Galadrim's Greeting. We don't need you. And it's usually reserved for those ones that raise your threat consistently, and it's like, yep, I need to drop by 6.
Yeah.
Okay, and the only other 2 that made the list were Hasty Stroke and Dwarven Tomb. I see there's a whole boatload of spirit events on this list.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
a
They
lot
gave a lot of cancellation to Spirit without any conditions, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like Dwarven Tomb just recur. Like, do you like playing Test of Will more times? Okay, play Dwarven Tomb.
Right.
Like, it's
Right.
Or just any
really,
Spirit card.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't put Dwarven Tomb. Who did?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's up there.
Yeah, I usually think about including 1 or 2 copies in Spirit decks where I'll be like, you know what? Instead of 3 Test of Will and 3 Hasty Stroke, let's just do 2, 2, and 2 with Dwarven Tomb, so
You can
have
make
the
some
optionality.
choices. Yep.
Yeah.
If you lose an ally or something that you need, you can bring that ally back with Dwarven Tomb, right?
Yeah. Plus, if you lose another, if you lose like an attachment out of your hand because of like a random discard. It's got other uses to it.
Right.
I also like it for insurance when I'm playing Dwarven Mining with Will of the West. Be like, oops, mined my Will of the West away.
Yeah.
See if I get my Dwarven Tomb to get it back.
Right. Here's the thing, guys. Okay, we need to come up with a list of 5. We didn't even talk about Hasty Stroke, which is interesting because I just think like Hasty Stroke is like there's so many ways to cancel a shadow effect.
Are there?
Armored Destrier, Balin, Erkenbrand,
Burning Brand.
Quicker Than Sight. Like all of these. There's all of these things
for sure. There's other cards. It just no card does it as blanketly as good as Hasty Stroke because you can just you get to cancel it. Right. Oh yeah. Those are all really strong effects to mitigate shadow, but if you flip over the shadow card and you're like plus X attack, my hero's dead. You're like, and it's not.
Yeah, but you could do that with
you're like, I'm just gonna not do this.
You can do that with an Armored Destrier too, right? Like,
yeah,
Jabire.
Yeah. And
like,
again,
like
if you can discard it beforehand, but being able, I think, to target and choose the effect afterwards is just strong. Now, consistently discarding it though is also very, very strong.
Right.
Like all those cards that we just named are quite good.
Right. The card that's the thing. Like the Hasty Stroke, yes, you get to see it and then discard it, but like I just think that there's a lot of other ways to handle shadow that doesn't include Hasty Stroke. I was big into Hasty Stroke
well,
think
that was your
about
nickname
hasty
in
stroke.
college, so that makes sense.
I hardly ever think about hasty stroke anymore. Like that's just not, you know.
Yeah,
As a
Yeah.
solo
it's
player,
a past
I don't.
life.
Yeah, I don't even. Usually, I just take the shadow effect and like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna do that. I'll just deal with the shadow effect. Okay, look.
Yep.
There are 3 that I put on this list that I put on the bottom but didn't put on the list. Okay, Testival is on the list. Daron's runes, is that going to be on the list?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. Elrond's council.
Yep.
Is that on the list? Micah saying yes. I'm
Boring cards are good, Matt. It's just the nature of things.
It's the Noldor restriction. I find I'm not playing it very often,
Okay.
unless I'm playing Arwen or Círdan.
Okay,
Sure.
we'll come back to that. Okay. Hands upon the bow. That was the other one
like
that
that card a lot.
Yeah, that didn't register on my radar initially, but it's pretty good. Like I said, it does a lot for one resource.
for one resource it gives you a boost plus an attack. Like
Yeah,
That's-
it's
pretty good.
pseudo questing, attack control.
Right.
Yeah, and sometimes you need. The only thing is, it's not like with the bigger enemies got later in the game. You kind of need you need an attachment, right, on that character to boost their attack generally, because the one doesn't always cut it, right?
Right.
Right.
It does for a lot of early scenarios for sure.
Right.
Um,
The Casa Doom. It's like, see ya. See ya.
yeah, but it's
So does
fairly
Hands
strong.
Upon the Bow make the list? It's the only other one that 3 of us said was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said,
Okay. It's on the list. Okay.
I think so.
Okay. So sneak attack versus Elrond's council.
I would play sneak attack all
Council.
the time.
Micah, you've been
I would go Elrond's council.
Elrond's council.
Mhm.
Sneak attack. Okay, split. How about foe hammer versus sneak attack? Foe hammer card draw. Is foe hammer better than Daron's runes?
No.
No.
Is foe hammer better than deep knowledge?
No.
Mhm.
You still have to kill an enemy with the foe hammer.
Yeah, Deep Knowledge gives you the cards instantly.
Yeah. So does foe hammer make the list at all because
Yeah,
Daron's
I mean-
runes is on the list? Like,
Yeah, but it's still it does actually net you the 3 cards for 0,
right.
which in tactics is great because you want to spend your money on weapons and armor and allies that attack. So to get card draw in that sphere
Right.
is strong.
So does foe hammer there?
And I think the other ones we've talked about are still better than foe hammer. As
Okay.
much as I love that
Yeah.
card, it's
Yeah.
just you just need a little prerequisite to it, and it makes it a little tough sometimes to trigger.
What about feint? Is feint better than sneak attack?
Yep.
Feint is
Mm,
better than sneak attack? Ted?
Yeah.
No.
It's reliable. It consistently will stop it every time, and it's in your hand. It guarantees stops an attack.
No, it doesn't. Immune to player card effects. A sneak attack will consistently put an ally into your hand, into play. Yes, and it will put it back into your hand to use the next round.
I would love to see the statistics of so there's a lot of great targets for it, but it's so much of people just wait a sneak attack Gandalf. Like that's how it's
Right.
looked at. And there's like I said, there's really great targets for it otherwise. But
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
sneak attack Elrond is very ally Elrond is very.
oh
good.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know,
Healing,
like,
condition removal. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You know, like, I don't know. So what's better, sneak attack or feint?
Sneak
Yeah.
attack.
Nah, to go with sneak attack.
Ah,
Because you could always sneak attack in a chump if you really had to.
true, but but sometimes there's penalties for that. Feint is just like,
But I
But
can
okay,
use
I'm
sneak
up.
attack with a variety of things for what the situation needs, right? It could be almost anything if I pair it with the right ally.
Yeah,
Here's
it's strong. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Okay,
The
let me
council
go
has
quickly
spoken.
through. Let me go quickly through this. Is okay if sneak attack / feint / Elrond's council is Dwarven Tomb better than any of those three? Quick, rapid fire here, guys.
No.
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 Hasty
It's a nice
stroke.
option.
Hasty stroke better than any of those three.
Yes.
Which one is it better than?
Sneak
Ted.
attack.
Sneak attack. Okay, Galathrim's Greeting. That doesn't belong on the list. Elven Light. We've already done that. Free Peoples. Not on the list. Stand and Fight. Not on the list.
Nope.
Out of the Wild.
No.
Very Good Tale.
No.
No.
Strong.
Host of the Galathrim. Too situational.
No.
Okay, so the
Those are all good. Those are all good runner-ups, and might make a top 10 list.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
within that, but-
So okay, so here's the thing: we have Sneak Attack, Elrond's Council, Feint, and Hasty Stroke. 4 cards, 2 spots. Okay, we decided that Foe Hammer isn't going to be part of the list. Okay, so Sneak Attack, Elrond's Council, Feint, Hasty Stroke. Ted, what are your 2 choices for that? What are your 2 choices for that?
Hasty.
Hasty Stroke and Elrond's Council.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, what are your 2?
Sneak attack and feint.
Sneak, Feint. Okay. Micah, what are your 2?
Elrond's council and sneak attack.
Oh my god. Nobody's even around. Like, okay, so look, Hasty Stroke off the list. I don't think Hasty Stroke makes the list. Okay, so now we have 3 cards for 2 spots. Sneak Attack, Feint, Elrond's Council. Okay. Ted, of those 3, you have Elrond's Council, Sneak Attack, Feint. Sneak Attack, Feint. Which one is on the list? Sneak
Feint.
Attack or Feint?
Feint.
Okay.
Feint.
Feint.
Yep.
Okay. And then let's see. Feint. So that means it looks like I'm going to
This is
say
the highly scientific part.
Oh
of the
yeah.
show.
Right. This is the high. This is it makes great podcasting as I'm writing
No.
down people's.
I'm right.
So Sneak Attack makes the list because it makes my list, and so there's 3 people who think Sneak Attack should be on the list. Matt,
Okay.
Micah, and so
by,
Sneak
by
Attack.
a group majority, it makes it. Yeah.
Okay, Sneak Attack, and then now there's 1 card. There's 2 cards for 1 place. Elrond's Council and Feint. Ted, which one are you picking over? Elrond's Council or Feint?
I will actually say Feint because like every 100% tactics decks of mine have Feint. 100%.
Okay. Micah?
Elrond's
Council. Elrond's Council. Matt?
I was sticking with feint.
Feint. Okay. I'm gonna go with Feint. Feint made my list. Elrond's Council didn't, so I'm gonna go with Feint. Okay. Whew. That was tough there at the end. That's what highly scientific looks like out there. Or sounds like out there, everybody. Okay. So here's the list of best in the game, best events in the game. Test of Will, Daron's Runes, Hands Upon the Bow, Sneak Attack, and Feint. So 2 tactics, no neutral. We didn't do any neutral, which I don't know what kind of neutral events there are that would even...
How did the end comes not...
Yeah. Right. And
Well,
then...
someone can make an argument for the Shire Folk, because that is also 4 threat reduction for 0.
Yeah. Right. Right. But specific,
I think the White Council might be the only general neutral event that would have something, because it offers you at least some choices.
Yeah, but that's not better than any of these on the list.
No.
Yeah. What's the one with Galadriel that's the victory display?
Keen as Lances.
Keen as Lances, right? That's a good one,
Mhm.
but that's also not better than any of these. Okay.
Yeah.
So there it is. That's our 5 best events in the game. And of course, now that we've set it in stone, there's no more discussion. That's all there is. Okay, everybody. Join us again as we talk about more cards in the game. Have a great day.
Do you love the content? Here's what you can do to stay connected. Become a patron. The money collected through Patreon goes into keeping the lights on here at the podcast. We love our patrons, and you can join at many different levels. Visit patreon.com/cardtalk2018. You can subscribe to us, whether you're watching our YouTube channel or you're listening to us in your favorite podcatcher. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications of all our new episodes. Didn't know we were an audio podcast? Find us by searching Card Talk to get access to our 120 plus regular episodes. Didn't know we were a video channel? Find us by searching Card Talk LOTR LCG on YouTube. And there you can find not only our regular episodes, but you can find our bonus playthroughs and other content related to the game. Want to get a hold of Ted, Grant, or myself? Feel free to email the podcast at cardtalk2018@gmail.com.
Okay. Elrond's Council.
It's ridiculously good.
What is Elrond's council?
What do you mean, what is it?
Oh,
Only 2 people said Elrond's Council, and
Yeah.
Ted and Grant.
yeah, it's shocking
Well,
because Matt's gonna say it's boring because it
Yeah.
is.
Right.
It doesn't do anything spectacular, but it's a 0 cost event that it lowers your threat by 3.
Oh,
for
yeah,
0.
duh. Yeah.
And
My God.